got to fight this guy. Oh, you got injured in camp. You lose to that guy too. Now you're set back when you could have been a champion.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of like weirdness going on with possibilities and, you know, just luck, bad luck, and good luck.
Bad luck and good luck. Timing, I think, is a big thing.
How is something like this allowed to happen? How is Jake Paul allowed to fight Gervonta Davis? It's completely unfair. It is completely just, I can't say the word that I want to say because I don't want to get canceled.
And then going out there and taking on a guy that is maybe 92 pounds heavier, that is at least 65 pounds heavier than you. That is called one thing. That's called being a bully.
Joe Rogan has blasted Jake Paul for arranging a fight with Gervonta Tank Davis, calling the matchup irresponsible given the massive size difference between the two. Rogan emphasized that weight classes exist for a reason to protect fighters and maintain fairness. He argued that by ignoring these limits, Jake is putting spectacle over safety. According to Rogan, Jake seems more interested in promoting a flashy event than respecting the sport's integrity, warning that Jake's significant size and power advantage could pose serious danger to Tank.
Sure, but no time limit within the weight class.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
That would be pretty wild.
Yeah, that'd be pretty
Because
crazy.
you know, like two guys are facing off each other, like, and they know, like, there's no rescue every 5 minutes.
Yeah. And you go into it knowing you're either getting knocked down or submitted, or you're doing that to the other person.
Michael Bisping has voiced strong criticism of Jake Paul's plan to fight Gervonta Tank Davis, citing the extreme weight disparity as deeply concerning. He noted that Jake is preparing to face an opponent nearly 100 pounds lighter, which completely undermines the principles of fair competition in boxing. Bisping reminded fans that Jake's previous matchup with the 58-year-old, long-retired Mike Tyson already raised ethical questions, but this new fight takes the controversy even further. According to Bisping, this isn't about skill or sporting merit. It's about Jake trying to gain an unfair advantage for personal benefit. He emphasized that boxing is built on balance and equal contests, yet this fight appears so one-sided that it risks Tank's safety and damages the sport's integrity.
One thing, that's called being a bully. It was bad enough when he fought Mike Tyson, a man that was 58 years old, and he was walking around like, I just beat the baddest man on the planet. I just destroyed Mike Tyson and went out there and I beat him. Him and his brother are all celebrating and shit like that. It's like, dude, what are you doing? What don't you understand about this? If you want respect from your peers, if you want everyone on the planet to look at you and take you seriously, give you credit as a boxer, you have to take on challenges that are real. You have to go up against someone that keeps you up at night, against someone that gets you out of bed in the morning to go for a run because the fear of them beating you down is real. Not going up against someone that is so small. If you were to go up to this guy in a bar and try and start a fight with them, people would look at you and say one word: whoa, stop being such a bully, leave him alone. You are way bigger than this guy. And that's clearly what we have here. It is ridiculous. When you look at the tail of the tape, Gervonta Tank Davis, granted, a very, very skilled boxer, a world champion. He's had some great wins. He's had a tremendous career. He's got 28 knockouts on his record. I'm just looking at the tail of the tape here. 30 years old, Jake Paul, 28. Gervonta Davis is 5'5" inches tall, whereas Jake Paul is 6'1". I would never dream on picking on a guy that is 5'5" inches tall. Granted, there's some tough guys out there that are 5'5" inches. Okay, you smaller guys, you know, but for 5'5", they'll pack a good punch. Typically, they're mixed martial artists or boxers. Yeah.
Teddy Atlas has reacted to the face-off between Jake Paul and Gervonta Tank Davis, pointing out the shocking size difference between the two. He joked that Tank looks so small next to Jake that he'd need a ladder just to reach his chin. Atlas acknowledged that variations in skill and style are part of boxing, but he stressed that this particular size gap crosses the line of fairness. According to him, Tank is simply too undersized to compete effectively, making the fight look mismatched and unbalanced from the very start.
Things, right? They should also have like the size of the ring, the size of the glove, all that stuff particular should be in the contract. But I would probably look for one thing that is not the common thing to have in a contract if I'm Tank. A ladder. A ladder. Can I get a ladder? Somebody? You know what I mean? Hey, look. Okay, if he hits him on the chin the way he can punch, Jake might be doing a dance. You know what I mean? Not voluntarily either. But we'll get into that more later. The thing that I'm talking about right here is what you said. It was stark. The size difference was really, you couldn't ignore it. We understand the talent difference, the experience difference. We understand all of that. But the size, the pure, and we understand small guys can beat big guys. We just saw Crawford do it to Canelo, but you know, a little different. The size difference was, I mean, it was eye-catching, jaw-dropping, and it made me think. And I'm gonna ask Richie, our man here who's doing all the taping, who does such a marvelous job. I'm gonna ask him because I know he's an expert in this area. But it reminded me of one of the Rocky movies where they had the face, where they did the wrestling thing with Rocky and Hulk Hogan, a.k.a. Thunder Lips. He was Thunder Lips back there.
Joe Rogan has criticized Jake Paul for turning boxing into more of a promotional spectacle than a true competitive sport. He explained that Jake's fights are carefully designed to attract casual fans and stir curiosity through odd or unexpected matchups. According to Rogan, all the betting hype and media buzz surrounding these events are driven more by headline value than genuine sporting merit. He believes Jake understands exactly how to keep himself in the spotlight, using boxing as a marketing platform even when the matchups themselves lack legitimacy or real competitive balance.
That's a problem. That makes it a problem. My opinion is, I just want to say, in case someone calls me into court, I'm a fucking idiot and I don't know nothing. And don't take my advice.
I love the Saudis.
Don't take my opinion.
I love the Israeli government. I love everybody.
That has nothing to do with them. That was Jake Paul promoting it. You know, it's just like,
but
doesn't bother me.
There's compromising the sport, and that's like bad. It's just like
if I bet on it,
watching
it bothers the fuck out.
Watching it with people who are so in on it, and then also man, the sports betting apps, they introduced like chat apps in them in Australia, so it's like they're trying to take the place of social media companies where you go together and you meet your friends. Like betting should be exciting enough without having a weird.
They're just trying to draw you in. They're just trying to make money, right? So they're trying to draw you in any way they can.
Leonard Ellerb revealed that Gervonta Tank Davis wasn't in the right mental space to take on Lamont Roach. He explained that Tank had been dealing with several personal challenges and didn't want to add more stress by jumping into a demanding fight. According to Ellerb, this lack of motivation and emotional fatigue was the real reason the matchup never materialized, despite fan expectations. He added that Tank was prioritizing his personal well-being over competition at that point, and stepping back from the Roach fight was his way of avoiding unnecessary pressure.
Leonard Ellerby said,
Reports suggest that Gervonta Tank Davis is planning to retire after his upcoming fight with Jake Paul. According to sources, this decision has less to do with legacy or championship goals and more to do with securing long-term financial stability. Many observers believe Tank accepted the bout largely because of the massive payday it guarantees, rather than out of competitive drive or a desire to climb the boxing ranks. Analysts also note that Tank has faced considerable personal and professional pressures lately, which may have influenced his decision to pursue a high-profile but unconventional matchup. In this context, the Jake Paul fight appears to be a calculated business move, a final opportunity to maximize his earnings and secure his future before walking away from the sport.
What you make? Like, let's go band for band on what you make. Again, there's nothing wrong with Tank going to get his money, but let's all be clear. That's all the fight is for Tank. He's telling you without telling you that he's fighting Jake just because he's getting $40 million. So when we talk about boxing being dead, Tank has to line up at the front of the line. Can't blame him, but don't throw around, oh, boxing's dead and people switch sides and all of that. You chose not to be great. That's it. You chose not to be great. Stuff like that, choices like that will kill boxing. For sure. On a competitive level, it won't kill it on a business level. On a business level, until people run out of interest in these kind of matchups, it'll do well. On a competitive level, choosing not to fight the best will kill the sport. So maybe it's better if people like Tank aren't in the sport. And I don't even say that because I want that to be the case. I think Tank is ridiculously talented, but you can't want a fighter to fight more than what they want to. You can't. Tank fans or Tank people that like Tank and think he's one of the best, you can't want it for him. And then Shakur came back with, that's how I know you soft. I can't even go back and forth with you soft ass. You'd rather pop to me on social media than get in that fire and get embarrassed. I get it. Peace and blessings upon you, cuz. He says, the people got your chest out so bad. You talking like you a killer, forgetting that You the one that runs, bitch. I'll be bring the fight to you. This dude, a made-up character. Quote, blessings upon you. Clown-ass dude, wanna be... Oh my goodness. I mean, here's the thing though. You can't say that stuff about Shakur if you're not willing to fight him. This is the point I think that we're going to come to today, is that Tank can say all this stuff he wants, but if you're not willing to fight Shakur, then none of it means anything anymore. Even if you believe that Tank is going to knock him out, even if you believe that Shakur's a runner, or that he's not in the trenches, or he's not a boxer that's willing to bring the fight, or whatever, none of it matters. You're talking from the sideline because you won't fight him.
Daniel Cormier has voiced strong disbelief over how the fight between Jake Paul and Gervonta Tank Davis was organized, calling the entire setup flawed from the start. He recalled the press conference where even Tank seemed unsure about the weight class, a detail Cormier considers far from minor. To him, that confusion exposes how disorganized and unorthodox this matchup truly is in a sport built on strict weight divisions designed to protect fighters and preserve fairness. Cormier also underscored the glaring size difference between the two men, stressing that Jake Paul is simply too big for Tank and that this imbalance can't be ignored. He questioned how a bout with such an obvious physical disparity could ever receive approval from boxing authorities. In his view, the mismatch not only compromises the integrity of the sport but also poses real safety risks for the smaller fighter. Ultimately, Cormier sees this fight as a troubling example of how boxing standards are being undermined, where entertainment and money are taking precedence over fairness, structure, and fighter safety.
Jake Paul. Yesterday they had their first press conference. One of the most recognizable things is Jake Paul is huge compared to Gervonta Davis. And two, Gervonta Davis don't even know what weight they fighting, D.
Maximum weight of 195 pounds for this exhibition. The fight will be contested over 10 3-minute rounds. The fight is 195 pounds, Tank, as you know.
DC, I watched this, and we have our priorities way misplaced when we're talking about boxing. Like, everybody's complaining about this Ali acting up. Like, how is something like this allowed to happen? How is Jake Paul allowed to fight Gervonta Davis? It's completely unfair. It is completely just, I can't say the word that I want to say because I don't want to get canceled, but this fight should not be happening. And the press conference was embarrassing. Gervonta Davis should not have a mic in front of him. It was absolutely embarrassing watching this thing.
D, why? Why, D?
Just the fact that, like, every time when Jake Paul would say something to Gervonta Davis, he didn't know how to answer it. He was comparing himself to, like, Pete Diddy at moments, and I was like, oh my God, get a mic away from this guy. This fight shouldn't be happening. And then he didn't even know what weight they were fighting. He's like, I thought it was 195.
That was the craziest thing. That was the thing that stood out to me the most. Was that when they go, the rehydration limit or something is 195, and he goes, wait, thought it was 190. Dean, that's bad.